I never really repeat questions that I know I've asked someone, but your answer to one of the last questions I asked at our recent Q&A was just so beautiful. And now I feel even worse because I'm like, do that again. It was just such a wonderful answer. And this is one of my favorite questions to ask because I think it's so important to have this in this industry. So in this industry, people give awards to each other, and I think that's wonderful. No one says good job to themselves nearly enough.
Oh, you doing this on purpose.
Yeah, I mean, that answer was really one of the most moving answers I've ever had to this question, and it's not on camera anywhere. And I feel like there's a lot of people out there who would have fuller hearts if they heard this answer.
Okay, so if you want to ask the whole question.
The whole question.
Okay.
So it's nobody says good job to themselves nearly enough. I want to know something you accomplish in the way home that you know you'll be able to look back on and say to yourself, damn, I am proud of what I did there.
Okay. This was a very real and a very raw moment that definitely caught myself off guard. But I'm 41. I'm going to be 42 in April. As I said earlier, I've been in this industry since I was 12. When you're told you're fat, you're not pretty, you're not good enough, you'll never make it, and this has been repeated to you throughout your life, and you're constantly trying to live up to something, I always tried to look and be someone that I wasn't. And that being the case, it actually came very much down to physicality for me. Because you get told all these horrible things, I went on like a downward spiral of, taking whatever I could to lose weight. I took fat burners. I didn't say this last time. When I was 12, my mother gave them to me. And I almost went to the hospital because I didn't think I was good enough and I took too many. And so I have never said that before. But so you get this horrible, complex about yourself. And so being on this show and everything else that I've done, I've always been so self-conscious about not wearing enough makeup because I want to make sure that I'm pretty enough. I want to make sure that when people are watching me, I'm not going to look flawed. I'm not going to look funky. I try not to make weird faces. I try to make sure that I'm always constantly in the right way. And I still do. I still fall into that now, but I really do try to live up to this expectation that I put on myself. So in the show, because there's so much pond work, because you're in and out of the water, because we really wanted to make it as natural and raw and real as possible, I had to shed a lot of, I don't want to say that it's not vanity. It's quite the opposite. But that sense of not looking how I think is acceptable to everybody else. And it was the first time in my career on this show where I actually felt like, you know what? I've earned this feeling. And I get to do something where I get to just be myself. And I look at myself and I'm like, yeah, I've got my skin has changed, my body's changed, my hormones have hit, and I'm so different than I was just a couple years ago that sometimes it's still a little bit of a hard pill to swallow. God, no pun intended. Again, the worst. But I do that, and I say that because I know what a struggle that is, and I know that pressure and how literally deadly it can be. And I look at myself and I can pat myself on the back because I go, you know what? That's a real moment. I'm really crying there. I really felt that. And I think I look pretty damn beautiful in that scene. Even without anything, snot coming down my face, tears splashed across. I probably have a leaf on my head coming out of the water, or a frog, or a tadpole. I don't know. But I could be proud of myself. Mm-hmm. And I can say, what's more important in these moments? Is it to look your best, or is it to allow yourself the room to feel something authentically and be vulnerable enough to let other people see the real you that's in here, that's not always going to look pretty and perfect and all that. When you can get to that point, I think that's that in and of itself is such a such a blessing in like a holistic standpoint. Career, person, I'm a mother. My daughters look up to me in everything that I do. And for them to say that, for them to see and go, Mom, wow, look, like you're killing it. Mom, you're kicking ass. Like my kids say this to me and it just makes me go, okay, all right, maybe I'm doing a good job. You know, maybe I deserve to feel really good about myself, not because of how I look, but because of who I am. And that's resonated the most.